time to talking about how the police can now carry out the issuing of ADVOs. They will take the ADVOs to court and be responsible for all the legal side of it. And the idea of this law reform that really started around 2013, 2014, is that it makes it easier for the victim. It's more support for the victim. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So basically what a police officer will do at the station is they'll make a probationary or an interim ADVO. So that means between the time of now, when the police officer is issuing it, and the earliest court date, which may be a week, might be 2 weeks, might be 3 weeks. You know, with the way the court system working now, it could be a long time. So, yeah. And look, do you know what? You know, when you think about what's happening this year, you could certainly, and it would be very interesting to look at the idea of domestic violence and family violence and the issuing of ADVOs in light of the fact that we're being forced into quarantine. That makes it harder to separate. And also the legal system is going to move very slowly. The courts are going to be very different, you know. But the increase of incidents and family violence is probably going to be more. There's going to be more family violence and less services and less means of working out what to do. All right, so once you get to court, a magistrate, it's a local court it'll go to, a magistrate has to decide, okay, well, what are we going to do about this? Am I going to be able to make a final order? So there are a couple of conditions here, and we're just running through the process, really. Yes, you can get a final DVO if the defendant consents. So if the person who the ADVO is against says, yep, that's fine, let's have an ADVO, no worries. If the defendant doesn't turn up to court, yep, fine. All right, they're not here. Let's go ahead and issue the ADVO. And that happens a lot of the time. Now, the next one is really, okay, if the magistrate is satisfied that there are fears for the safety and those fears are reasonable, they'll issue it. So they'll test their evidence, you know, they'll ask questions. You know, there may be witnesses, there may be photographs, the police might be required to make a statement about what they saw. There could be video evidence. As I said, a police person going into a domestic violence situation is automatically recording everything. So, you know, they'll determine on the basis of what is reasonable, and I suppose that is reasonable doubt, that standard of proof would be lower. It's not criminal level. But if they think there's a reasonable reason why, yes, that person's afraid, then they'll issue the ADVO. If you go into a court and you say, look, that person over there, I really think they're giving me the evil eye. All right, what evidence do you have? Oh, I just feel it. They're not going to issue it. Okay, there's got to have to be something a little bit more serious, because it does limit the other person's freedom or the other person's access to certain things. And once the ADVO is issued, it'll be for a specific period of time, usually 1 to 2 years. And then you can extend it, as it says there, depending on the circumstances. Is everyone good with that so far? All right, let's move on. Now we're going to look at the idea of, okay, we know what ADVOs are, we know what they do, we know where they exist in law, we know how they operate, we know that they're meant to protect victims. Does it actually work? Now, this is a really, really good evaluative statement by Don Weatherburn, who is no longer the head of the crime statistics and research. He's retired. He still makes statements. And if you remember, he made a statement about recently about, what was it? Strip searching. He was making a statement as an expert, but retired. When he made these statements, he said that, you know, the Daily Telegraph are making claims about ADVOs. But he said, and this is where you can quote it, the majority of women who have taken out ADVOs believe them to be effective in deterring further violence from their partner. So they have a positive effect. You can talk about effectiveness of these. Yes, definitely, according to Don Weatherburn, they are effective. Okay. In a recent survey, they found 98% of women their physical violence ended after taking out the ADVO. So that's a statistic that would give you a fair degree of certainty that there's effectiveness there. It doesn't mean the other 2% is an acceptable statistic. Those 2% may be the ones who end up being killed. A lot of people who have been killed by partners or family members have ADVOs in place, that they're not sufficient. But it's saying in 98% of the cases, we can be certain it's doing its job. So it leaves two sides of the question then. Yes, they work, but they're not going to work for everyone, the 2%. There's a question mark, all right, and what happens to those 2%. And on the other side, there's all the people that never apply for an ADVO. They never go through the process. They never feel sufficiently supported. They never come to the police. They never report it. So yes, those who access law, it works for, but not everyone. And then there's the problem of the people who never report it. Does that make sense? Hopefully you're seeing the analysis of that statement. The statement's a powerful one, and I really, really encourage you to refer to this particular quote from Don Weatherburn. All right. So here's some more things to consider on the next slide. Sometimes it's very difficult to prove it, and technology probably has made domestic violence more complicated. Domestic violence and family violence has been broadened, as we'll see, but it includes stalking on using technology and devices. It includes, going onto someone's, spreading rumours about people, I suppose. It includes all sorts of things that are related to nothing physical, but it's all digital. So that has complicated the process. There are certainly ADVOs that have been issued that have said you are not to use the internet. Like the defendant, the person who the ADVO is taken out against is refused access to the internet. That's pretty hard to enforce. And, who's policing all this? But a lot of it is technology based. Can someone let me know that they're still out there? Let's have a look. Who can I see? Ryan, can you just let me know you're hearing all this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not talking to myself in the middle of the street. No, that's good. Okay. And are there any questions, Lauren, you have at this point?
Yeah.
No, straightforward. I hope you're starting to see how we can piece this together into writing. Okay, you're starting to formulate and take out of it the main things you want to use. Roger, are you okay with it? Roger, are you okay with it?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. All right, let's go on. So, yeah, this is saying these are the range of options. You can get fined. So dot point number 2, you can actually be in prison for up to 2 years. Pretty unlikely that would happen. Sorry, let me go back a step. So if an ADVO is issued and then you breach it, meaning you break the conditions of it, you go near someone, you contact someone, and you're not supposed to, you will end up back at the local court. And at that time, the magistrate has a range of options available to them. And the most powerful one is they can put you in jail for up to 2 years for not following an ADVO. So not following it has serious consequences. You can be fined and so on. But what the statistics are showing us is that most often if someone breaches it, what they're doing is they're getting a good behaviour bond, meaning the court will say, we gave you an ADVO, you didn't follow it. As a result, if you do it again, you will go to jail for 2 years, no questions asked. Do you understand? It's a good behaviour bond. Okay, it's a type of penalty or court order. So yeah, that's the way it tends to be working. And the studies show they're very effective in stopping violence. However, for a small number of women, an ADVO will not provide all the protection they need. So we now need to look at probably the more extreme cases, and we'll go on with that in a minute. So what else is in place? There is a police program called the Safer Pathway program, and this, when I wrote this at the time, it was a pilot program only in a few police stations, but it's now statewide in New South Wales. So it's called Safer Pathways. So if you report a domestic violence incident, it goes into a coordinated sort of approach, and if the victim is considered to be, at critical risk, they need to have a safety meeting plan where basically all the different agencies need to come together and work out a plan for that person as an emergency. So accommodation, health, education, social workers, they all come together and they work out a plan if it's considered critical. And the idea of these safer pathways is to make sure that if someone comes forward, they get the proper level of support. Now, yeah, I think that pretty much explains it, and there's a little bit more information there. But in an essay, it'd certainly be useful to mention these steps. I mean, these are law reforms. They're things that are being required through legislation or through direction from the minister. So they're legal, and you can talk about the Safer Pathways program and it being a coordinated response to try and improve the situation, to try and make it more effective. Okay, so yeah, this is in place now. Safer Pathways. This is what this one is saying, and it's being tested. And probably we need to update this now because 2019 has passed, and just see, is Safer Pathways still going? So, and what you can find out about how successful it was. So I might leave that for you to do a bit of research, and we can start the next period with you telling me a bit about Safer Pathways and where it's up to and whether it worked. You should be able to find something. Okay. And look, what I've got here is I've got some links for you to use. And that's reading for you to do in your own time. Just put that there. And yeah, well, that's about homosexuality in the law, which I put in the slide from last year because it was just an interesting thing we were looking at, and we'd already talked about it. But what I'm probably saying is that's enough for today in terms of the PowerPoint. The things that I want you to do now are obviously look through it, take out the key things, think about, I'm going to be writing soon about the effectiveness of the legal system. I'm going to be talking about ADVOs. Look up what's Safer Pathways and what's happening there. Look through these articles and start doing some background reading. And next period we'll get together and see the sorts of things that we've found. Okay. How are people feeling about that?
I have a question.
Who's that?
Angelina.
Oh, Angelina, you joined us. Okay, good.
Yeah.
What's your question, Angelina?
For the Safer Pathways, like looking for current, would we look around like 2020 or like 2019-ish, or like currently published stuff? Like when you were saying like look at current measures for Safer Pathways.
Well, yeah, Safer Pathways is new enough. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what you're trying to do now is you're trying to. Sorry, Angelina. Let me just get rid of this PowerPoint. Okay. Let's go back to Zoom so I can see you all. Let's show you all. In any case, Angeline, can you just repeat the question? Sorry, I just had to control the.
Like what date kind of thing would we look at when we're looking for current Safer Pathways? Like, is there like a current version? Like, has it changed? Is what I'm kind of asking.
Yeah, I actually don't know. I haven't looked at it for a year.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is saying, have a look at it. Have a look at it. See what you can find. Yeah, have a look at it and see what you can find. That's better. I can see you all now. So yeah, the work that I'm leaving you now to get on with independently is, number one, see what's happened to Safer Pathways. See if you can see a report, a news article. Is it still working? All right.
Yeah.
And that will update that whole police initiative, Safer Pathways. There's probably some people saying it's working, some people saying it's not working. See what you can find out. Number two,
Yeah.
look through those links that I've sent you as a beginning point of background reading. And then next period, what we'll do is we'll get together and we'll talk about the different things we've found about ADVOs. There's a lot of opinion out there. There's a lot of articles about them. But you need to, like I keep talking to you about, reading it is the key. You know, get on online and watch some videos, watch some opinions, get some quotes, okay? So that when we come back, what we might do is we might start a Google Doc and we'll just try and piece together different opinions and different attitudes and maybe different statistics about ADVOs. And then the next step after that will be, let's write about them. Let's work on a section of our essay. Okay?
Mr. Palmer?
Yep.
Can you post the instructions for that, like going through cases and stuff?
I can type it up for you if you like, if that would help.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I'll repeat them again just for my own mind to clarify.
Okay.
Actually, I'll do it right now. I'll go on to Edmodo and do it right now. So, all right. So I want you to do work for next period. When do we see each other next?
I'll check.
Monday. Period 1.
All right. So number one, find out about Safer Pathways New South Wales. Any statistics, opinions on effectiveness? All right. Number two, read the 3 links provided in the PowerPoint. Again, you want to do statistics, opinions, effectiveness, quotes, the same sorts of things we always do. And number 3, is there anything else? Oh yeah, if you have time, begin general media research about ADVOs. Yeah, maybe find a recent case where an ADVO worked or didn't. Okay, maybe there's someone, probably more likely you're going to get in the news someone that someone unfortunately died. There's an ADVO in place. I think actually, do you know that case in Brisbane, the woman who died with her husband killed her and her 2 children, that one that was in the news a lot lately?
Was it the Hannah Clark one?
Yeah, that case. What would be interesting, just if someone just had a look at that case. Who said that? Who said Hannah Clark?
Brianna.
Yeah, Brianna. Maybe if you can just look at the Hannah Clark case and just see, was there an ADVO in place?
Yep.
Okay. But that sort of stuff. But do you know this, because these cases are a little bit ADVOs are a lower level. They're not reported. They're not published in the same way as you hear about them when there's a murder and someone had an ADVO against them. Can you hear me? Can people hear me? Can you nod your head if you can hear me? Can people hear me?
Yep. Yeah. It's a bit like.
Yeah. So my computer's telling me my speaker's not working. Oh. Anyway, yeah. So just do that background. I mean, and then we can have an informed discussion next period, and we'll open up a Google Doc and we'll collect some really good quotes and statistics and information. Does it sound like a plan?
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone nod your head. Did anyone have any other questions for today?
Yeah, about the practice essay, is that on child custody?
I'm recommending that what you do is you create a past paper question or find a question that you want to do, and then you write, 500 or 600 words on custody and alienation, what we've discussed about, adapting it to that question, and then send it to me and let me have a look.
Okay.
Okay. How are we going? Are you all ready for a lunch break?
Yeah.
You've been working hard today?
Yep.
Yeah. Have you been working hard today?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's good.
Trying.
Yeah. Have you been logging in every lesson now?
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Okay. Well, time for lunch. You're probably tired. These can be quite exhausting. So I've given you a little bit of stuff to do over the weekend. We're making pretty fast progress through this. If you didn't want to meet next period and just use it as a working period, I could do that. Would you like to do that? And we don't meet on Monday. We meet, say, on the next period after that.
When's our next period, though?
If you don't do Monday, when's the next period?
It's
When's
not
that?
Thursday we have a double.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to leave it till the Thursday to have?
Why don't we just check in at the start of the lesson?
Yeah. Okay. I'll do about a 5 or 10 minute check-in, and then I'll just give you the period to work on it, and then we'll have a good discussion and finish it pretty much on Thursday.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And then move on to the next topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Sound like a plan. Okay, everyone. Take care. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye, sir.
Yeah. Have a good time.
Bye.
Now. All right. See you later.
Say Richard for us.
He's having a nap.
Oh.
All right. You'll see him on Monday, no doubt.
Yay.
Yeah. Okay. See you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.